This is a family showdown!
You can talk.
You never told me! I'll just sit here and jam out. You guys can enjoy the music. Yeah! Hi! How's it going, peeps? Welcome to live, obviously. Live craziness. Good to see you all. Already popping into the chat. We're going to do a top 10 tonight. How crazy is that?
Top 10. Top 10 deduction games. So what's a deduction game?
I don't know. It's a game where you think about stuff.
Think about stuff.
Try to figure things out.
So we kind of broadened the category. We just made it deduction games because there's all kinds of deduction games. Really, board games fall into two major deduction categories in my opinion, but there's all ranges in between. There are social deduction where you have hidden roles and hidden objectives and things like that. And then there's logical deduction games where you're trying to, through a series of clues or information, trying to figure out a solution. So, deduction.
You got a problem, yo? I'll solve it.
Mine is dominated by a certain category of games.
No one's going to be surprised by this. I'm going to go with...
Man, the chat's microscopic over here.
Hey, what's up with that? You trying to, like, go blind?
I don't know.
I'm going to guess that you wanted to do induction games instead. No, wait. Just to mess with the list, right? Hello, hello, peeps. Look at this. Everybody's popping in.
So, yeah. So, not to spoil my list.
It's already spoiled. We know.
But I'm not a big fan of the logical deduction side of things.
So you're saying you're not a fan of logic?
So it's funny. It's funny. I'm a math person and stat person and all that stuff, but I'm not a fan of logical deduction, which is weird to me.
Well, in a game. Or in life.
Because puzzle games fall into that category.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about those, huh?
No logical deduction.
Yep,
but I do love me
yep.
some social deduction, so I guess as long as there's social involved, I'm okay. Logic's out,
You little party animal, you.
Logic's out, social's in. What about you?
That's a reflection.
You got a mixture of both, or are you?
Yeah, I have a mixture. Although, now this when I built my list, I didn't pick like my all-time favorite deduction games. These were the games that I felt like when I hear deduction, that's what I think of. So mine's a much bigger blend. If I were to just pick my favorite games, probably would be on the more social deduction side usually. But you'll see in here I have a few that are not so much.
All right. Well, let's kick her off. Let's get her started.
Fun mix.
Get her started. Welcome to those joining. Welcome. All right. Let's do it. As always, I do not know what my list is, so it's a surprise as it comes up. My number 10 is Salem 1692. We just have this version called Salem. They changed the game because there's several Salem games, so they now they have a series of games that have years. So they have Tortuga and one other game. I don't know what.
Really?
Anyway.
Oh man, this game's cool.
But Salem 1692 is a surprise social deduction game where you are at, I guess, in the witch trial time period of things in Salem, and you are trying to deduce. See what I did there? Deduce.
Excuse me. Okay, I'm better now.
Trying to deduce who is the witch among you, or witches, depending on how many players you're playing with. The witch or witches among you. And basically it's through just accusations, and you basically have to basically take people to trial. So you give people points. And once a person has a certain number of points in front of them, I guess they're marks, or I don't know what they're called. I can't remember. But they get a certain number of those in front of them. They have to flip over one of their cards. And the goal is for the non-witches to get the witch to flip over the card that says, I am a witch. And the goal of the witch is to prevent that from happening.
And if you don't at least once say, I'm not a witch, I'm your wife, or something equally obnoxious, or a Monty Python reference, I think you're playing that game wrong. I'm just going to throw in my...
But it got a lot of things going on. It's got, you have all play characters, actual characters, or people from that time period. They have different superpowers. Yep. Just lots of different cards with different abilities. And
that's a fun game. That's a really fun game.
And it has, like, several social deduction games have, not several, but some, have kind of midway through the game, there's a chance that someone else can become a witch as well. So,
which doesn't always happen in a lot of games. It's like it either changes people or something, but the fact that this one's kind of infectious, I think makes this one unique. And I like the fact that if you look closely at all the flavor text, it's not just flavor text, it's actually they researched the characters, the people that were taking place in these trials. So the information in there, it's just, I like that game. It's one that kind of sneaks up on you. And it's another, we talked about this before, I think. I don't know if we talked about it live, though, that some social deduction games get up in your face. And as soon as someone's like, are you the werewolf? You're like, of course you cave. But this game, too, again, your chips are kind of telling. So you don't have to say a word playing this game.
Right,
you really don't have to say anything playing this game.
It takes all the fun out of it.
It can. But at the same time...
But yeah, you're not directly confronted and asked questions.
Yeah, you can't do that with the way this game works. So
you can.
I mean, you can, but... Okay, you're kind of breaking things, but I don't know. I think that one's fun. That's a fun one.
Yeah, and this one was one of the I think the few social deductions that work with the lower player counts, lower being four.
Yeah.
It worked. We played at 4 players, and it worked really well, even at 4 players. So this could potentially be like a couples kind of game. 2 couples playing together.
That's true. That's
anyway,
cool.
that is my number 10, Salem. 1692 is what it's called now, but our version Salem is the same as in the picture.
Oh, okay.
Am I pointing?
Yep.
In the picture over here.
Wow.
Down there.
Really?
That's the version we have. That just says Salem.
I like that little packaging too. It's in this little book. It opens up like a book. It's pretty fun.
All right, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is very number 10. I can enunciate is very niche, as they say. But I instantly think of deduction with this, and that is Vampire Radar. Good luck getting your hands on this one because it's impossible to find, or nearly so. But this is a fun. We should try to bring this places to play with people. It's a hilarious. This is a really fun game, and you are trying to it's kind of a one versus all game, which I don't usually like. Well, I don't usually say, oh, I'm going to try to look for a game like that, right? This one works really well. You've got this invisible vampire sneaking around trying to... What? What's your face?
I'm thinking. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You're sneaking around. You're the vampire. You're sneaking around. You're invisible. You're trying to go and bite people before they shoot you. And I just love the fact that it's just a silly game. It's a silly game. And you're trying to deduce because you've got these radars on your board. And if you go and step on those, you get basically a number. And that number is telling you how many squares away that the vampire is located. But, of course, it doesn't give you directions or anything like that. So you've got to deduce where he is based on the evidence and obvious things like that, where you've shot before, where the walls are, and because it's kind of in a little maze-like scenario. Super fun game. It's a goofy game. Love it. Again, it's tough to find because it's made by this one little company in Japan. Julian's awesome. I'm sure if he... But yeah, just had a friend in Japan get one. I mean, it took some doing. It was not a easy...
No, a little toy store in Japan sells it.
Yeah, and finding it elsewhere is just not anywhere else to be found, which is kind of a bummer because, again, this is such a cute little game, and it's fun, and I love it.
So you bring up a point, and that's why I was in thought.
I figured, but you're...
Are all hidden movement games by default deduction games?
If you're trying to figure out where they are, yeah. I would say so. Why?
I didn't even think about hidden movement games at all.
Oh! For once, I'm not the one that forgot about this stuff. This is cool.
I don't know if it's a forgot about it. I just don't
didn't think about it?
I just don't.
I don't know. What do you guys think, huh?
I don't know if hidden movement is deduction. Is it? I guess it is. I don't know.
No.
All right, my number 9. My number 9. They said your book looks like a little DM screen, like you're hiding.
Oh, that's right.
Like you're hiding something.
Well, I didn't want to flip it on the table because then my handwriting's very large on this particular page. You guys be able to read all my top 10. So yes, I will.
My number 9 is Fog of Love. Fog of Love.
Yeah.
It's not a social deduction game. See, I branch out occasionally. So Fog of Love is a 2-player game where you are going on a date, or you've been going on dates, or you have a relationship or some sort, and you're basically taking on a role. Basically, your role, kind of your all your aspirations in life, your motivations and things are all hidden from the other person, and you're trying to achieve your goals at the same time the person across from you, your partner or your date or whatever, is trying to achieve their goals, and sometimes they coincide, sometimes they don't coincide, and you're just going through the process of dating and in a relationship, and you in different situations you're asked, what would you do in this situation, what would you do in that situation, and you decide, usually based on what motivations your character has. Your motivations can change throughout the game. They can be swapped out. And
didn't I crush your sense of adventure in
yes,
one game?
you made me like a homebody or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you're trying to not only achieve your things but figure out what your other person's going for, because in some games you're trying to work together and to win, and that way you have to kind of figure out what their goals are to try to basically don't go against what they're trying to do while trying to achieve your thing. So just a fun little couples game. I don't know, it's just fun. But yeah, I like the hidden objective. I like any game with hidden objectives, but this one really has. There's games with hidden objectives that I don't consider deduction games, but this one is really the whole game revolves around those goals and
because
achieving
everything
those goals.
You say in that game, you got to be in character, and you're supposed to be trying to give clues as to your motivations and your goals and stuff, and sometimes they're not as obvious, or they're difficult to make obvious. So you're constantly racking your brain. It's like, okay, why did they say it like that? You know,
why did they pick that? Why did they choose that?
What's going on with this? Why did you say that? So it's pretty cool. It's a really fun game.
Anyway, number 9, Fog of Love. This is a Walmart exclusive. You can only buy it online from Walmart.
Online, not even in the store now.
Not even. It's never been in the store.
Oh, really?
It's always been online from Walmart.
See, I feel like that's a huge disservice because Fog of Love needs to be widely available. That is a gem of a game.
Well, at least in the U.S. I don't know about other places, but in the U.S. it's online Walmart.
Yeah, okay.
All right, what's your number 9?
My number 9.
Made the image too big.
Define too big. It's covering your face. All right, so my number 9 is one we've played with you, and that is Concept. You're using your reasoning. Hopefully there's some logic involved. And you've got all these different categories and images and this and that. You're trying to like pigeonhole certain things so that you can narrow it down for people to figure out what item it is. It's almost like 20 questions, but visually. It's a very...
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. It's a very, as you say, thinky game.
It is thinky.
And for some reason, my brain is not wired the way this game works sometimes. Sometimes it's just like, boom, I've got it. And other times I'll look at that and I could stare at it all day and I'm like, I do not know where you're coming from. I have no idea what clue you just gave me. It makes no sense. It is it's like a hit or miss game for me. But I think deduction with that, because the whole time you're like, okay, why did you put that? Okay, if you put that and it's this, and this is the subcategory. So it's describing, you're trying to put it all together, and it's a little puzzle. And I enjoy it. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it immensely. So, yeah, charades on a board. That's kind of an interesting way to put it.
Is charades deduction?
Charades, yeah. Okay, if we're going to get down to it, deduction is taking these pieces of information, right? And deducing.
Well, that's every board game. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to get really nitpicky, that's why I picked the games that when you hear the word deduction, that's what I think about. Because otherwise you could technically probably You could probably put just about any board game on there.
When I think about deduction, I think about Mafia De Cuba.
Oh, do you? Do you now? So tell us about Mafia De Cuba.
Mafia De Cuba, a social deduction game, of course. This one is, as opposed to Salem, which works with small numbers, this one works best with a crowd. I think you want 10 plus to play this game.
Oh, yeah, the more the merrier.
You want a ton of people sitting around a table at a convention or wherever, a big meetup, and play this together. Mafia De Cuba, like I said, social deduction game. One person plays the Godfather. They have a box in front of them that has a bunch of roll discs, little poker chips with rolls on them, and then a bunch of gems. And they take some of the gems out and they pass the box around. And everyone goes around the board and either take a roll or they take some gems, and then the last person may not get nothing. And then it comes back to the mafia leader, and there's a certain number of gems, and there are no gems left. And he's got to figure out who around the table has taken the gems. And basically, different people have different motivations. Some people want to work with the Godfather. Some people want to work against the Godfather. Some people want to kill certain people around the table, and all sorts of craziness. And you just go around and you just ask questions. You basically interview, the Godfather interviews people around the table and asks them questions. And eventually you're going to catch people in lies, and you have to decide, okay, who do you believe and who do you don't believe? And then you say, I think you have gems, give me my gems. And if you're right, you get the gems. If you're wrong, you potentially lose, but with enough players, you get a couple of oopses where, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to accuse you type situation. And then the goal is to, again, like I said, is for the Godfather to figure out all of the gems, and then the people who work for him either win or lose depending on if the Godfather figures that all out. So this Godfather is a very central role. Usually you want someone, a strong player, playing that role at first, but after a game or two, anyone can probably play that role. So,
yeah, totally.
Great social deduction game. Probably one of my favorite, like big crowd social deduction games.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Did we get the expansion?
Yes, we have. We have never played with it.
What? Okay. Tragedy.
Yeah, it's tragedy.
Because what was in the expansion for that?
I can't even remember because we haven't played with it.
That is depressing.
We haven't played with it.
Well, we will have to
more
fix that.
rolls. And
oh yeah, that's right. There's more rolls.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's probably the biggie.
I don't think we've ever played with the expansion.
Well, yeah, we have to fix that.
But we didn't get expansion. It was fairly recently when we got it, so
we
haven't played with it.
All right.
Anyway, that's another social deduction game, Mafia De Cuba.
All right, my number 8. I'm sure. Again, I told you I'm all across the map tonight.
Oh dear.
What? The only person who's I'm going to get.
This is actually. I'm glad you did this one. This was going to be my number 1 honorable mention, so it's good that you picked it.
Interesting.
Kinda
I thought you'd make fun of me.
But
I thought you'd make fun of me. I picked out Foxed for my number 8. Yes, this is primarily a kid's game, obviously, but this is a fantastic deduction game. It's a fantastic game for kids, period. It's great. It does not insult their intelligence. It encourages teamwork and deduction, and it's super fun, and it's one of those games where I think it's a great family game too, because the adults are not sitting there falling asleep trying to, encourage the kids to play. Everybody can get into it and have fun with it. It really encourages some good discussion on how to eliminate suspects from your list. What is a good strategy? All of this good stuff, and you can kind of grade, to use the teaching term, scaffold it for them, so you can use the different, give them a little bit more independence each time you play it and see how far they can do it on their own. It's pretty cool. I like that because you can start with some little kids. You can bring your little teeny ones in with this, and they can just help you flip over the tiles. When they get a little bit bigger, then they can help you narrow it down or help you remember the clues or this and that. And before long, the kids are playing it by themselves. It's the coolest thing. I love this game. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, like I said, this was going to be my number 1 honorable mention. I didn't put it on a list just because it is a kid's game, but what am I trying to say? For people who believe kids can do more than just roll a die and do something, this is the game they need to get for them, because again, they are rolling a die and moving around, but they actually have to think. They're looking, basically the concept of the game is there's a person who stole a pie, a fox or something.
Yes, the fox.
And you're trying to figure out who the person is, and basically you do it through deduction. Basically, you get a clue like the person's wearing a top hat, so then you can look around the board and eliminate the ones that don't have a top hat. And you don't see all the people at first, so you have to make a decision on turns to flip over cards or to eliminate cards or to get clues or whatever. And basically you narrow it down through deduction of there's only one answer that could be the correct answer, and then that's the person that you basically accuse. We decide as a group to accuse that, and then you make sure it's right. But the problem is there's a fox that's running away while this is going on, and if it gets to the end of the road, basically he's gone. And so you have to, eventually you may run out of time, so you have to take a guess based on the information you have, or sometimes you completely get all the information you need and you figure it out. So
I really like this one too. I didn't even mention this. It scales in difficulty as well, because you can have the fox move one step, so he's slowly moving. Or if you've got kids that are pretty good at this sort of thing, the fox can move 3 steps for each turn, which of course they need to pick it up and figure it out pretty quickly. I love it. Right, it's a cool game,
and it's a co-op game. You're working together. Oh, great game.
Yep.
Glad you picked it.
Woohoo!
It was my number 11, basically.
Yeah. It's just great for deduction.
All right, my number 7. Let's see if it's another social deduction game. Well, it is. What do you know? It is Secret Hitler.
Oh man, that game.
Secret Hitler. We only played this one gaming session. I think we played it twice.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a chance to play it because we don't own it. Someone else in our group owns it. It's a great social deduction game. It's one of the ones that a little more involved. It's got a little bit of the feeling of the Resistance, so it's kind of a longer, more drawn out social deduction game, not in a bad way.
No.
So basically,
You're very involved.
Half the group is liberals, half the group are fascists. One person's Hitler. Basically, the liberals are trying to figure out who the Hitler is, and Hitler's trying to get elected chancellor, and it's a hidden role type situation. But it has a lot of one of the things I like in a lot of social deduction games, basically it throws blame on people and they have no control over the blame, right?
It's such a mess.
So occasionally you're going to pick laws to vote on, and you do this secretly, and you take those laws, you pick 2 of them, and you give them to another person, and they decide which one to vote on, right?
Yeah.
So the laws could be good laws or bad laws, and you hand it to the other person, and they have to pick one. So if they pick a bad one, they say, "Oh, he handed me 2 bad laws. I didn't have a choice." And you go, "No, I gave him 2 good laws. I gave him a good law and a bad law, right?" And so you argue back and forth, and you basically throw blame. And I love it when because you may be a good guy and you're handed 2 bad laws, and you have no choice to give him bad laws, right? So it's just I love games where it throws blame on you. You have to kind of keep a straight face and try to it's fun. It's a really solid game. What reason I brought up that I've only played it a couple times is I think it could go up my list further
once we play more.
If we play it more. So really love this one. It's a solid social deduction game.
Yep. All right.
What you got?
My number 7 has already been mentioned. Yes. I just happen to like it a little bit more. Yeah. Fog of Love. It's not necessarily your run-of-the-mill. You may or may not think deduction when you think about this game. I think everybody sees it as just role-playing, but at the heart of it, what you're doing is deducing what our goals are. Are they the same?
Right.
Should we be working together?
Right.
And what's going on with it? And it's very subtly placed in there, but it's at the heart of the entire game. And it's so much fun because, again, the role-play is what makes that aspect of the game so much fun. So I don't want to rehash for 10 minutes about it, but the sky's the limit with this. You can do so many crazy things, and the traits are always going to be mixed and matched differently each time, and it's a riot.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you have contrary motivations, and
oh my gosh,
you're always picking differently, and you're like, why'd you pick that?
Yeah.
It's funny because you get more bonus points if you decide, basically in the situation, if you decide the same thing, but
then
I may have a different motivation from her, so I'm like picking like the jerk choices because that's what I'm trying to work for, right?
So sometimes you'll want to pick situations where you kind of know which way you're going to lean to, hoping that you'll get those bonuses or whatever. But yeah, it's so, oh man, it'll melt your brain when you start thinking about it too much. Sometimes I love it. Oh man.
Someone asked, how early in Fog of Love do you usually know deduce your partner goal? It depends.
Hard. Well, and the scenarios are different. So some of them, they start out kind of bland at first. It may be really hard unless it's something really obvious, like someone has like a is exceptionally conceited or something weird, like
Right.
some trait that really jumps out at you,
Right.
it's going to be hard.
And some of the cards may not come up to point you in the right direction,
No.
right? If the cards are coming up that don't help with your trait, you're obviously not picking it, so you're just picking a random thing because it may not care whether it goes up or down, right? So it really differs from game to game. You'll figure out some
scenario
early.
to scenario too.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, some of the rounds, you oh man,
It's interesting.
well, and like that one where you changed traits. Sometimes there's things that happen that
Which
cause you to.
stinks because if you got a lot of
you're building up.
You've been building up the other way the whole time, and it flips in the opposite direction. It's funny.
It's pretty tough. So it depends.
Fog of Love is a good one. I mean, it's a great
yeah
relationship destroyer.
relationship destroyer.
My number 6. Let's see what it is. Is it a social deduction game? Well, yes, it is.
Oh my god!
This is one I just mentioned a second ago. The Resistance. I like it a hair more than Secret Hitler just for now because for whatever reason, the Resistance for me always has that stand-up moment because I get so invested in this game for some reason. I'll totally believe someone like, you're on my team. We're going to do this. Let's do this. We're going to work together. And then betrayal and I just get so into this game for some reason.
It's hilarious.
I think I get into it maybe too much because I get really invested in like, okay, you and you are on my team. Let's do this. And then one of the last times we played is like I was completely convinced I had everyone figured out, and I just got totally sideswiped. I think that's so awesome when a game gets that crazy moment where. Anyway, Resistance. It's another hidden role game. You have the Resistance, and you have corporate people that have infiltrated your Resistance, and you're trying to go on missions, and you have to decide who's going on the mission, and you pick the teams, and you want to try to pick people that are on the same team as you, if you're a good guy, to go on that mission, and you get voting and things like that, and you kind of judge from what people are doing and what happens with the mission and how people vote to try to figure out who the teams are. But this one just has those moments, man. It's just, I don't know, this is awesome.
The game has actually grown on me because of you and Mary. Both of you love that game so much that it's kind of like risen from the ashes for me because I was so over that game. I don't even know why. I was just like, Resistance. And now I'm like liking it again. It's funny. So
yeah, like James said, it's just a classic. It's just a classic social deduction game. Someone James also asked, "Are we gonna get the expansion for Fog of Love?" We haven't even played all the scenarios yet, so we're not too needing the expansions yet. We may grab them just to have them, but we haven't got them yet.
I'm cool with that.
All right, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is kind of reminiscent of your Resistance, and that is Coupe. Actually, it's coup, but it's got a P at the end. We don't pronounce it. Crazy French. So yeah, coup. This one I like better than Resistance. I guess because you have 2 roles, or maybe more because you can lie. And you're like, you know what? I'm the captain. I'll just take these 2 coins. I'm good. And people are like, is she really? Is she just doing that so she can get 2 coins? So you might call me out on it. But then, if he's wrong, he loses half of his identities, and then he's half dead also. You only get 1 shot, so somebody could accuse you and you die. So it's just like a survival of the fittest, last man standing. Everybody's always the Duke, because he gets the best benefits and can overrule a bunch of stuff or whatever. The assassin's fun. The mental games, you have all these different roles. There's an assassin that can take out people for a certain amount of coins. Or if you save up enough coins, which is kind of hard to do because it's expensive and people are always stealing money from each other, you can assassinate someone and there's no way to defend yourself from that.
You do a coup.
You do a coup.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun. And there's the, I can't think of his name all of a sudden. It's a diplomat, I believe. You can trade out roles. Ambassador, thank you. Yeah, trade out your roles if you want to get a new one, or pretend you do, and just shuffle cards around. Or it's just, there's so much going on with this, and I love the fact that you've got 2 in front of you. You could even end up with 2 of the same character, which is even better, because then you can just mess with people. I absolutely love when we get that chance, and you're like, yeah, I'm the captain, and they're like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah. And then you're still the captain, and you do more captain nonsense, and they're like, really? You're going to keep going with it? Yeah, I'm going to keep doing this. And then next thing you know, Love it. I love that game. It's just fun to mess with people in that game.
Yeah, it's almost
out.
I would almost call it a filler social deduction game.
Because it's so quick. It really goes pretty smoothly, quickly. I guess you could discuss longer, but people start to figure everybody out fairly quickly, and it's kind of snowball effect. Once people start to die, it just goes faster and faster.
Yeah,
until nobody left.
Yeah, we always start out like playing this like one time just to take a break or
then you end up playing.
And then
5
we end
games.
up playing like an hour worth of 4 or 5 games of it. It's really fast, really quick, really fun. It's got those laugh out loud moments, and just there's actually a chance where you can completely kill yourself on one turn, both your characters, if you do the wrong thing, and that's hilarious when that happens. So
because it inevitably does at some point.
it's a good one. It's a good one.
It's good stuff.
Keepy.
Yep. See, and James points out he's got memorable moments from playing that game, and that's I think one of the big ones with that game too is there's always those storytelling moments that you'll remember with games like that make it awesome.
Yep.
That's good stuff.
Good one. Good
stuff.
My number 5 is a social deduction game.
Of course.
Kind of. Shadows over Camelot.
Is it a cloudy day over Camelot?
Shadows over Camelot. This one I've played this game so many times. Every time has been fun. I've never had it fall flat. It's always been a fun experience. I've taught this to people. I've played it at conventions. I've played it at meetups. I've played it all kinds of places. I've taught this one it's one of my most taught games at conventions because it's just so easy to teach everyone.
That's true.
You just got to teach them poker hands and how the special powers work, and you pretty much can play this game. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I always try to talk the group into playing the auto trader because there's a chance in this game there might not be a trader in the game. So I try to convince them to have, because I think the game's more fun with a trader. You thought it was fun the one time we played and there wasn't a trader because everybody was accusing everybody
the whole game.
About halfway their game, we're like, man, that person that's a trader does not know how to play this game.
That or they're really waiting to get us. Just like, why is he being nice? Every motive is questioned. Love it.
I just like this game. This is it's a social deduction game, but it has a game built around it. I mean, it's more. I think it's a little more than the social deduction. It's got a big part of it is the hidden trader part, but there's actually is a challenge. Even if there isn't a trader, it can be hard to win this game because it's just challenging. The game fights back and it beats you up. So you have to kind of work together, and then obviously if there's a trader, the working together thing doesn't quite. This one has the most. I think of all the hidden trader games, this one has the most finger pointing.
Oh my god!
Because it seems like that there's stuff that you can do in the game. Like every round, someone has to do something bad. They have to make a choice of something bad to do. So it's kind of like that, like I said earlier, where it forces you to do something bad, so it throws suspicion on you. And there's certain things that are more socially acceptable for you to do bad than others. And then when you do one of those unsocially acceptable choices, they're like, "What are you doing that for? You're the traitor." And they're like, I just nah.
You're like, I'm trying to spread this so it's not killing us quickly, and they're like, no, that's evil.
So yeah, this game it's just a fun experience. Like I said, it's always worked out really well. I like social deduction games that have a game built around them. There's more meat to it than just trying to figure out the other person's role. And this game has that. It's a cooperative game with a trader aspect. So
good stuff.
Love it. Good one. This one's
good.
This one's like just like evergreen. It just for us. It just seems like it always
pops up. Yeah, it's always got good.
And people are still playing it after all the years. I still see them at conventions playing this game.
I think this one's gonna last a long, long time. We're gonna see this game forever. I think so. So. I see you guys commenting about Texas temperature right now.
Yeah,
we already have been colder this month than we were all last winter. And it's weird.
Yeah, it's I saw a meme on social media that said it's like you're calling up. It's like, "Hey, fall, you coming to the party?" Like, "Yeah, I just got here. Winter pulled up right behind me."
Seriously, that's pretty good.
We went from like 60s and 70s to 28 Fahrenheit.
All right, so my number 5.
Social deduction game?
Well, actually, it's funny you should say that.
Oh, okay.
My number 5.
Got too big of a picture.
Oh my gosh. Complaining. Sheriff of Nottingham. This one is so much fun because you don't have a lot of clues to go off of for this one. You just have to see body language, your trust perhaps, what kind of shenanigans they're going to offer you, bribery, whatever, what have you. Figure out, are they telling the truth? What is going on? How many bonus points are they getting? You got to remember, too, that there's all these bonuses. With Sheriff, you're trying to smuggle goods across into Nottingham. And there are good legal items. And then, of course, there's the contraband that's worth way more victory points. But you get penalized heavily if you're caught with them. So you're trying to smuggle these things. And there's also bonuses at the end for the legal goods. If you have the most of certain types of legal goods, you get some great bonuses. So it does behoove you to pay, attention and tell the truth good chunk of the time. But if you especially have the expansion, it just gets tastier and tastier to lie through your teeth about what you have so you can get all those tasty, yummy contraband items in that are worth double the points or whatever. So it's kind of fun. I enjoy the gamble on that one, right? Are you trying to get more bonus goods in, or did you sneak in some bonus goods and some contraband that you have in front of you that's worth, so many points? Oh, it's a lot of fun. And of course, it's much better if you roleplay and do stupid accents and quote Monty Python or whatever you feel like quoting.
I quote Monty Python for everything.
We pretty much do. Yeah.
That's more for Camelot.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It is kind of gut deduction for Sheriff. That's true. Instinctual.
Yeah, I mean, this one is kind of borderline deduction. I mean, it's more, but if you consider werewolf deduction, then this is just as much deduction as werewolf.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's more so because I think honestly, in Sheriff you have more information.
You do get more
than you have in werewolf.
Well, yeah, because you're only really going after one thing in werewolf. In this, it can be multiple items. There's multiple goals.
Well, you can look at what people are collecting. You can look at what their history of what they've done, how they're acting, what information, if they're bribing or.
It's not just whether or not they're telling the truth or not, but why.
Yeah.
This is what you got to figure out too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there. But,
all right, let's move on to another social deduction game. I'm guessing I don't know what my list is. Hey. This is another one of those with a game built around the social deduction.
Ooh, really?
And that is Battlestar Galactica, the board game. So this one is like a lot like Shadows, even more so. There's this big game that's built around the deduction piece. So you have hidden traders in this game. It has that thing mid-game where there could be more traders added to the group. But there's all this cooperation and working together and all this effort put forth to basically try to get away from the bad guys, from the Cylons. You're basically sort of trying to survive and jumping to the next spot, surviving, jump to the next spot, and after you make a certain number of jumps, you win the game. It's got all these voting that's going on. People are trying to figure out why you're voting certain ways and who's voting and who's putting negative votes in, how people are acting. You're throwing people in the brig you think that are bad guys. It's got all this game, but it all boils down to trying to figure out who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. So,
yeah, it's good stuff.
Great game. It's almost got an epic feel to it. Especially if you throw in a bunch of the expansions, it can get even more epic. But I really love the hidden role aspect of this game because there's so many people are so brutal and this is almost borderlines on mean. Like, I'm gonna throw you in the brig if you do this. I think you're the bad guy,
or you guys just throw people in the brig, and I'm the only one that happens to be the mechanic that can fix things that are broken. And yeah, we have some great memorable stories around this. I don't even remember what I did that you guys thought I was guilty about. I don't even remember what I did. I think you're the one. And so you guys threw me in the brig, and I was the mechanic. And we were getting shot at, stuff's getting beat up, and I'm like, let me out, I can fix stuff. And they're like, no, you'll kill us. And I'm like, I'm going to keep you from killing yourselves. Oh, man, it was like, I'm so frustrated. You guys were just like,
last game you were a good guy, and you became a bad guy.
Yeah,
right?
I was like Queen of the Cylons or some nonsense at the end of that, man. It was great. But yeah, I don't even remember. That one I understood. But that one game where you guys threw me in the brig.
But this game is so easy that you do something weird, you're like,
and
why'd you do that?
You, Cylon, you toaster, you. Oh man, it's just the insults are flying.
This game's a lot of fun, but it is epic, and it's kind of a rules. The rules are pretty heavy on this one, I think, especially if you add expansions.
Yep.
All right, what's your number 4?
All right, my number 4 you actually talked about, and that was Mafia De Cuba.
That's high, wow.
Well, to me, this game is deduction, because you really do, as the mob boss, go through and you kind of interview everyone in line, and you're like taking down the statements and trying to figure out, okay, between number 2 and number 3, the story kind of changed, got a little weird, and then after that, the count's off, and okay, so it's over here. So if they did that, then
yeah, there's a lot of
and you start. There's so much deduction going on in this game, and you really, I still have not been the boss in this game, and I'm okay with that because I don't know how good I would be at it. Because I'm like, it kind of melts you, and if people really pull off and they work together enough to kind of get the chain, like, of logic going, it's really hard to kind of pull it apart if you don't catch that one little clue that hangs it up. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good game.
Yeah, this game more so than anyone. You end up with 2 people. One is lying, one is telling the truth,
like,
and you put them against each other, and that godfather has to pick, which one does he believe? Because it comes to this person and this person has said something different. Their stories do not match.
Yeah, what do you do?
Then the person after them, and then you have to kind of go from maybe their neighbors and interview them. It's just crazy. You're right.
Insane.
This one has a lot of deduction, so.
Yeah.
A lot of deduction.
There you go. That's my number 4. We already talked about it, so I won't go too crazy into it. This is a game I think I might want a house rule, though.
Why is that?
I think, well, as a house rule, I don't know if it's a rule, really. I kind of want to put extra stuff in the box so it makes noise.
It's not really a house rule. A lot of people do that.
Well, that's kind of a house rule, then, because it's not in the rules to add extra crap for you to...
That's true. You're right.
I don't know. Just a thought. Because you can tell if someone accidentally jostled the box when they're passing it.
You can hear that there's
still
like, gems in there.
Oh, it's like, there aren't any gems in there anymore. It's just like, yeah, I don't know.
But you can find out that same thing through interviewing people.
Yeah, the mea culpa rum is the best, right? I love that. The fact that you hand out rum. Oh, my bad. Have some rum. The game has got some great stuff in it, so...
All right.
Good times.
My number 3 has already been mentioned.
Oh, thanks, baby.
It is Sheriff of Nottingham. Now, I really...
You love this game. Okay,
but I waffled on putting this on my list because...
Why?
To spoil my list, I kept off my list the ones that I feel are just what Kabuki had, what she said earlier, gut deduction.
Oh, okay.
Where all you have to go on is how the people, basically you look at them and you see how their facial expressions and how their things are. I kept those, I kind of didn't put any of those on my list. You just have nothing to go on. But I feel Sheriff has a lot to go on.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot, but more to go on because you can use reverse psychology in this game. You can say, hey, I'll give you 5 gold to open this other person's bag. That immediately you have some information to go on. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
You're trying to deduce, why did they choose that? Are they trying to trick me into opening their bag?
Yeah.
It has that reverse psychology thing going on. And Werewolf, it's just kind of, you're just totally going over how people are acting. I mean, there's some deduction and basically on the roles and things like that. But so I kind of kept those off my list. No for other reason than I just, like you were trying to put some with more deduction. I think there's a lack of deduction. Like One Night Werewolf.
Oh, that game. No,
that game is like just chaos, right?
Chaos.
I mean,
that's
it just.
Anyway, I wouldn't have put that one.
So I kind of decided, do I want to put this on the list or not? But I really, the way I play the game anyway is I use so much reverse psychology in this game. I'll even bribe people to open my bag just to see if they'll do it or not. It's like, I'll give you 3 gold to open my bag.
That's hilarious too. That's fun to watch.
And they're just like, what?
Yeah.
So
That's always a good one. Good times. I like it.
Anyway.
Yep. Good pick.
So I kept it on my list. But I love this game. This game is awesome. It's one of my favorite social deduction games. I've heard stories of this falling flat. I have personally have never experienced it because I ham it up and go crazy with this game, and there is almost no transaction I'm not involved in some way.
Because if you're being quiet, I should probably be suspicious.
I will every time I'm like, okay, I'll give you 5 gold to open both their bags and leave my bag alone. And in my bag's nothing but regular goods, so it's like trying to tempt you to open my bag. I just use all kinds of tricks and psychology. And one time I played it at a convention, and every time I'd say, so this is what's going to happen.
Oh my gosh. I just started rolling my eyes. I'm like, no.
So this is what's going to happen.
No.
I said, I'm going to give you 20 gold. Or something insane amount of money. What you're going to do is you're open all the bags but mine. I love this game.
They would actually take you seriously, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I love this game. This game's so much fun.
It's crazy. All right. My number 3 takes us in a different direction now. We're kind of getting out of, I don't know if I would call this social deduction. This is more deduction.
This is straight deduction.
This is like hardcore deduction, guys. We're talking about Captain Sonar and Sonar. And here you are with, it's like live action Battleship. I love these games. Now, they're slightly different. In Captain Sonar, you can do 8 players, and you can do, there's kind of a turn-based one, or you can do like straight-on live action with that. Sonar is a smaller game, and it is fully turn-based. And, oh, wow. It's funny how the same game can feel so different
when you're
by how you're, when you're doing real-time versus the other. It's really interesting. It's Battleship. It really is. You're moving around, and you're following, of course, people are trying to track you down and fire at you. But in Captain Sonar, of course, you've got to get all your weapons lined up. You got to get all this stuff. You have to work as a team. And so there's a few things going on with that. And at the same time, you've got some people whose sole job, right, is to try to figure out, all right, where are they going? Okay, I'm following it. It's just, I love it. And I think I like Sonar on the small scale a little bit better because I feel like everybody's more involved in that action. Because in Captain Sonar, everybody's just got like their one job or whatever. But Sonar, man, you can work as a team. You just write down on the little board so you don't have to talk. And you have the screen, you're hiding behind the screen trying to figure out where they go. And I just absolutely love this game. I love this game.
Yeah, I was going to say that in Captain Sonar, really the navigator or whatever is the only one doing deduction, right?
Really.
The rest of the people are not. In Sonar, you're working, it's
a team.
Normally it's a 2-person, 2 versus 2, and you're both working together more so. I guess the captain and the navigator, I guess, in Sonar are kind of working together. But for the most part, every time I play Captain Sonar, the navigator person or the helmsman or whatever, they got their head down and they're really studying. They're doing the deduction.
Yeah, there's
right?
you
and
can't
then you
really
got they got the weapons person and the engineer. They're not doing any deduction whatsoever, right?
You can't because you're going to give away information shouting at each other because you're not close enough, or you're just everyone's got their job and you have a time frame or something. It's interesting. So,
but in Sonar, you're both looking at the board, you're working together to decide what to do, or more so than in Captain Sonar.
I like that job you put, Battleship the LARP.
Yeah,
that's so what that is. I love it. It's a great one for Hunt for Red October quotes too. I like it.
All right, my number 2 is a social deduction game.
Of course it is.
It might be.
It is.
It's Spyfall.
Called that.
This one's a little more gut deduction, but you can really corner someone and figure this one out. I think
if you get a group that's good at asking questions,
yeah,
you get a lot of information. It's not.
I think the spy is the one doing the majority of the deduction.
Oh gosh, yes.
I mean, more so
Well,
than the individual players,
yeah,
because
'cause-
he is like really keying in. So anyway, Spyfall is a social deduction game. One person's the spy, everyone else is at a location. So they'll have a card that says they're at the restaurant or at the circus or wherever. The spy just says, "I'm a spy." He has no idea where everyone is. So you take turns asking each other questions, and you're basically trying to figure out who the spy is by asking kind of veiled questions that don't quite give away where you are, but you got to answer them in such a way where you let the other person know, I know where we are, but you doesn't give the information away to the spy, because if the spy ever figures out where everyone else is, he wins the game. So the spy is really listening to analyzing every single question and trying to figure out, especially the answers, to figure out where everyone is. Everyone else is doing deduction too. They're trying to figure out who the spy is, but the spy, man, the onus is on them.
Ooh, look at you throwing out those Latin ones. No, I get the giggles thinking about this game too, because my favorite moments in these is when someone tries to be coy and they answer it in such a way that everyone, not just the spy, goes, "What?"
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, "Okay, wait a minute." Everyone's startled for that split second,
Right.
going, "Everyone just said that." So, are you the spy? Or did we? Huh? You know, I
Right.
love that, because all of a sudden it's just like the clouds.
Or someone answers a question in they think it's a clever way, but it immediately gives it away for the spy, right? They got it narrowed down to, the spy maybe got it narrowed down to a few choices, and then the answer is like, boom, I know what it is. And you're like, ah. Like someone said something about pillows one time when we were playing, and I was like, hotel. We're at the hotel.
Come on. Yeah, I was like, why did you say that?
Pillow.
Yeah.
I mean, I've looked through the list. I'm like, there's nothing that could be a pillow other than a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is a great one. This one's fun. It's in the right group. If you play the roles, you have a choice in the game to actually be a role. So, like, say if you're at the restaurant, you may be a waiter or the maitre d' or the dishwasher or whatever, and you basically answer the questions in such a way that your character would answer it. So the dishwasher is going to answer a question very different than maybe the manager of the restaurant would, right?
Yeah.
So it confuses it adds another layer of confusion to people, because you may answer a question in a way you're like, you're obviously the spy, but it's just because you're answering based on your role, right?
I was just thinking of that one, yeah, because you were a zoo manager.
Right.
And you were answering questions like he was in some office. We're like,
yeah.
I could swear we were at the zoo, but you're talking about
everyone was convinced I was a spy, and I was convinced I was a spy with the way I was answering, but I was answering the way it was. Like, so how do you like your job? I was like, oh, it's kind of stuffy and boring, and then everybody else is answering like working with animals and things like that. So
that's hilarious.
Great game, great social deduction game,
like
but
that.
This one should almost come with a disclaimer on the box that says, you get the wrong group, this game is going to fall flat.
Yep.
So.
No. Hector's quoting Hunt for Red October on there. I was cracking up because I was actually thinking that, like, oh, I really would have liked to see Montana. He says that as he's, like, dying, and I'm like, ah! And he's, like, quoting it.
As you get blown up?
Yeah, that's good stuff.
All right, what's your number 2? What's your number 2?
My number 2, you guys know I love this game. I talk about this
shocked.
game all the time.
Shocked.
Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Oh, man. I thought this was going to be your number 1. What just happened?
I do think deduction.
I'm flummoxed.
Don't be. Wow, man! Somebody ate a dictionary for lunch today. I'm just. Wow.
I'm reading up.
I see. How exciting. Okay, well, there's a couple of games, and you'll see why when I think deduction. Yes, this was a close second.
Oh no!
I don't know why you're knowing, but yeah, this game is fantastic because you've got everybody, this is that game that you go and say, hey, anybody want to kill anyone? And everyone's like, what? Of course. What a great way to introduce a game. So you've got your rows of cards, and you've got some items that were left at the scene, just at the scene of the crime, and then you've got your murder weapons. Everyone's got these cards in front of them, and you get rolls. You're either an investigator or the forensic scientist who's basically leading this whole thing, giving clues away. And then you've got your murderer and your accomplice, and there's a witness, and there's other stuff if you do the expansion and all that. But it's so much fun because you've got this murderer picks something in front of them, the accomplice knows about it and is trying to deflect the conversation away from those things, maybe even implicate themselves because it doesn't matter if they get falsely accused. But then there's a witness who knows that those two people are in cahoots. they have to figure out which one of them is the actual murderer and what the items are. So they can't obviously they can't say it too blatantly because there's a chance, even if they get accused, if they figure out who the witness is, they can do like kill the witness at the very end and run away and still get away with the murder. So everybody's trying to be secretive about it, but you're trying to guide the conversation while they're trying to deflect the conversation. And love this game. So much fun. And you are just, what's going on? Chat explode or something?
They liked your eating a dictionary for lunch statement. My number one, no surprise, is also Deception Murder in Hong Kong, but it's not her number one, which I am flummoxed because I thought sure it was going to be your number one. Love this game. This is, like I said, in my top 100. Not to spoil my top 100, but I said this is my new gateway game.
Yep.
It's easy to teach. It was relatable to Clue. It's fun. It plays a good number of players. It has the drop-in, drop-out ability. You play a game and then you reload and new people and you go with it. I played at a convention and it seems like every time I play at a convention, it starts out with a group of people and we end up with a completely different group of people by the time we're done.
Because everybody wants to keep playing and you just...
Well, people drop in, leave, they have to go. Yeah. Someone walks along, hey, can I join in?
Of course.
Great for that. Plays well with all the player counts. Just a really, really fun game. And like I said, the big thing about gateway games is it needs to be relatable. And Clue is one. When you ask people what games they play, people usually throw out Sorry, Clue, and Monopoly are their three games. And this one you say, hey, it's just like Clue, except this is the differences. It's so much fun. It's just a fun game. Love it.
Good times.
So I can't say much more about it, but I am shocked that this is not your number one.
Yeah, but okay. When you think of deduction, you think of the word deduction. You think whodunit. You think crime.
Yeah, like Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Yeah, and that was my like I said, this was my close second. But if I'm gonna try to figure out something, Stop Thief.
Oh dear.
Stop Thief is sorry. I think deduction. This is what I think. And yes, I now the old cheesy one. Whoo, man, that game is hysterical. But Restoration, man, this was a pow, home run. Amazing. I love this game. You gotta figure out the clues. You have this board, this map, and you hear things, and there's only certain places where those sounds can come from, and sometimes you can do extra things to get a little extra information, or someone might start running in another direction because they got some extra information. There's so much going on. I love this. So anyway. Yeah,
I see where you're coming from. I mean, this game is totally deduction. It has deduction on different levels. You have the sound effects.
Yeah.
You have the clues. You have in Restoration, you have the different character powers.
Yeah.
You're so watching where everyone else is moving and where they're going to. It does have a ton of deduction. I agree.
It does, and this is not just a roll and move. They really breathed some life into this because Clue. Yeah, I know it's deduction, but I just feel like that's a roll and move game to me. I don't enjoy Clue. I mean, to the point where full confession, I tell everyone every time that's the only game I will, and unashamedly, I will cheat in Clue because I'm just bored out of my skull. I will watch where you write that down on the page.
I remember when we first started dating, I caught you cheating. You're like, I don't care. That's what I do.
I in Clue. That's the only game.
She watches where you're marking your card, and she she deduces by where you marked your card what you're marking out.
Oh, and I'll hold my page upside down. I can read upside down. I'll turn it sideways. I don't care. It's just so you can't do the same to me. I'll mess with people. That game,
Such a cheater.
I don't like that game.
Such a cheater.
I don't like that game. That's the only thing I can do to stay awake during that game is to cheat blatantly.
Don't hate.
Just saying. Stop Thief, on the other hand. Stop Thief. No. That game is greatness. Greatness.
I will agree. This one has a ton of deduction, especially the new version.
Yep.
And you tricked up your list.
I did.
I'm shocked.
I told you, this is the games that I think of when I think of deduction. Trying to rank these, I was like, they're so I have enough going on with making that top 100 right now where like all these games that are so completely different, ranking those are just like, what? To do that with a deduction list, I'm like, no way. I'm going to think about just deduction, what that means to me, and go with the games because they're all really good. It's really hard to pick. So, there you go. Sorry, it's true. It's true, Jobby. I have never been able to get into Clue. Just sad.
Well, there you have it, folks. There is our top 10 deduction games. So we're going to wrap up with a quick channel update, tell you what's coming up, what's going on, what's happening around the game world. So first off, for our channel, next Tuesday, resolution update. Tuesday after that,
my top 100.
the introduction to Rebecca's top 100 games.
Oh yeah, it's going to start, baby. Woo! It's that time of year.
This is like the quick fire round. So I'm going to be at PAX Unplugged. If you're going to PAX Unplugged,
go say hi.
Go see me. I'll be at the Dice Tower booth 2 hours each day, different times each day, but I'll be around. All right. Rebecca recently started a new video series over on the Dice Tower, The Talking Tower. It is getting rave reviews and lots of positive feedback.
You guys are awesome.
It is really cool. It's awesome. It's her, Z Garcia, and Mark Streed just chit-chatting about gaming stuff. So I don't know what the schedule is going to be on that.
We're still working that out.
We're still working
that out because that was kind of our pilot. So I will let you know. To be continued. Although from what I know, everything so far is looking really good. We're going to keep going forward with it. So we're excited.
Cool. So yeah, that was really cool.
Guys.
I'm very proud of Rebecca. She did a great job.
Well, thank you.
Breaking out on her own.
I know. You know what?
Doing her own thing.
I wouldn't have been able to do it without my IT department. Let me
She's
tell
such a mega star.
Stellar. Oh my gosh, whatever. Oh, you guys are crazy.
So yeah, because that's the first thing you kind of have done by yourself, other than our show. A few times you did a couple solo things.
That's true. It's
really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah,
it's
pretty exciting. So, yeah, it's been fun. But yeah, I'm learning lots now about how to do the tech stuff because you're helping me fix things.
That's true.
Like, eventually, I'm going to be good at this. Be able to edit my own stuff and be a big kid, right?
Yes, indeed. So, I think that's going to be it for us. So, we'll see you next time. Look for the resolution update next Tuesday. We haven't played a lot of games, so maybe a short update.
Oh, no. This weekend, we got plans.
Oh, it's true. This weekend is...
Plans.
The plan is this weekend is
all the games.
Heavy Euro weekend.
Ooh. Is it really?
Heavy Euro weekend.
How delightful.
Heavy Euro weekend.
Perfect weather for it.
All right, get us out of here.
Bye, all. Mwah. Mwah. Much love. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Stay warm.
Or cool if you're
cool.
in the
Stay
southern
dry.
hemisphere. Bye!